Good evening from Moscow, Russia. We are here to give you an insider's perspective on what happens behind the scenes. When you send in the application, what happens? What do these guys do? How do they assess your applications? What are the things they look at, and how do they do the interviews? When do they do it? What kind of things they ask you? And most importantly, what are your expectations once you hand in the application? So we're going to be discussing this and let's see what they say. So with me we have our expert panel. I will begin the names from my left. We have Yury. Sophia is next to Yury, and Dr. Dirk Meissner, who was my program leader, and obviously he will be answering all the questions as well, including Yury and Sophia. So welcome you all once again to our insider's perspective to our program. I'll ask the first question. Do you like to play the role of a judge? What kind of thoughts and opinions you have about that?
I believe we are not judges. We're just human beings. And that's why when you come and you have an interview with us, to be sure human beings have also subjective decisions, to be sure it's an objective one, you will face always 3 teachers minimum.
Right.
Don't be surprised. Otherwise you have the subjective decision of 1. But if you have like a commission like that, 3, and by purpose mix of male and female,
right,
it's going to be objective. Okay. So it's not like a judge, we are not a court.
I guess at the same time, when you're judging someone, you are judged by yourself. I totally agree. We are just trying to find out if the person, the applicant, is on the right way on choosing our program, and that's it.
Okay. The next question I think would be, how often do you have disputable scenarios or disputable, just cases or something like that? And who makes the final decision on them?
I don't remember serious disputable cases. We usually receive around 5% of the applicants after interviews, around 5% come with an appeal and say, I would like to know why you gave me that and that assessment. Mm-hmm. All right, we have a talk and it's solved. And when it's a commission, we have a dedicated appeals commission. It's not us, it's not those involved in the interview making the assessments, so it's independent body. But the serious disputes, no.
Like you may be having somebody who you may have declined after the interview, and he would like to make an appeal on that, saying, sorry, but I was an XYZ place, not thinking properly. I think it's unfair for you to fail me because of the interview. How do I make an appeal on that?
You write a paper, you write a letter, a formal letter with the appeal,
okay.
Filing an appeal, providing a reasonable statement why, and when the commission takes it and checks it.
Okay.
And they listen to you, they ask for it.
And how often does that happen, actually?
Appeals, from time to time.
Official appeals, like 5%, but any like oral appeals, discussion when we have to listen to the student, to their questions, it's 50-50.
Okay.
But it also it's a very good instrument for the student when he has the ability to talk to the commission after the interview.
Okay.
And ask all the questions and while listening.
How do you assess all the applicants? I mean, when they apply, what kind of rule or kind of requirements, set framework you apply on that?
That's a very simple process. Like usually the applicant should go on the website.
What we have here?
Yeah, and then apply with the several documents. Mm-hmm. And then our first step commission will select the applicants by the documents,
right.
And then we'll have the interview, Zoom or offline, whatever we just don't know what it will be in the next year, and that is it.
Have you ever faced a circumstance where the interviewee, the person who is on the interview, was really rude to you? or you asked something like that and he did not give an answer which you didn't like or something, or did you have any kind of an unpleasant
Yes.
thing happening at the end?
We had funny stories. We had stories or applicants via Skype, especially or Zoom.
Right.
There was one guy, he was sitting in his kitchen. Obviously, this person was married to a number of women. They were fighting each other in the background. This was really fun to observe. Yes. Another one told me, I am outside, it's raining. Look at my feet. You should care. Yes, it was raining. I see your feet. Show your face. No, it's raining, man. Interesting to learn.
Right. Have you also seen such things?
Once we had an interview with a girl. She brought her, I don't know, few months old baby to
Wow.
the interview. And she was delivering the interview with the baby. I don't know, always running back and forth, so it was very interesting.
How about you, Sophia? Did you?
I think the most common thing when the applicant is not turning on TV video, because he's like on audio and says no, I'm like too shy. I don't want to turn on the video. So yeah.
What do you feel about that? So if someone obviously is like this, I mean they have a webcam and sorry, I don't want to turn it on because I'm not quite happy with it or see my shoes. How do you feel about this? Like what are your internal thoughts and feedback on that?
There's no big discussion. If you don't show up, you don't show your face, you have something to hide. That's it. You don't need to continue talking. You see us, we want to see you.
Right.
This is we are not talking to a machine. We don't care about your hair. We don't care about your age. We don't care about if you're nice or ugly, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. You just want to see the person.
Just want to see the person and about your reaction, a little bit about your body language. That is the point.
So I think that could be a really key idea. I think the interview process is to really look at the body language. I think that's pretty much what you're looking for. I mean, obviously you'll be asking the questions, but also looking at the body language, I guess.
I don't think that's the most important part, and the body language helps to convince the commission that you are really going for what you need and you're suitable for the program. That's so it's just one characteristic of the applicant, I think.
Okay.
But I don't think it's the main characteristic.
So, have you ever faced a situation, or you ever had a situation where an applicant was admitted on his persuasion skills, on the way he is, rather than the actual subject knowledge? If yes, could you describe what it was and how did you kind of take action on that?
Persuasion, you mean?
Like persuasion, like he was a very good interviewer. He could give a fantastic interview. He could give a fantastic, documents. Make a very good, motivation letter. And you admitted him, or you admitted her, but then later you found out that his actual or her subject knowledge was not up to date, or did not meet the requirements.
No, I think that. This is again, it's just one piece of a story. It's not just one issue, not the complete picture. Of course, if you talk fluently and you can convince the commission that you really want to do this, that's an additional point in your favor. But I don't think this is decisive, because we should somehow decide if the person is appropriate to the program, and because at least we have some workload, we have some we require some skills during the education. Not only good talker can be the only skill that you need for the program.
How about you, Sophia? Did you have somebody like that?
I think we all love reviewing the documents actually, and we're always browsing all the papers that applicants submitted to us. So there is a complex decision for us, and when the student is persuasive, it's okay. But nevertheless, we are doing it in a different perspective.
How about you, Dirk?
Similar. It's more or less, you have to be somewhat a strong person. You have to demonstrate personal skills. We're talking about a management program. So if you want to go to management, you should have some self-conscious. It should be something like also convincing, knowing what you say, not the big words.
Yeah.
With the substance. But to convince others also to take leadership. You need to have some kind of skills there. Some soft science.
Okay.
But I can tell you that there are some opposite cases when we've seen very shy people, but they were really determined to get into the program, and they had good background and good skills, and they finally managed to get into the program.
Okay. Right. Okay. So then, I think the next question would be: can you tell us something about the admission process and the admissions this year? And have you noticed anything different as compared to the last year's admission?
No.
Okay.
The level of application remains high quality, but the only thing we see is frequently some applicants come and say, "Oh, a friend of mine studied here." So the mouth-to-mouth propaganda, the domino effect is increasing.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. Interesting.
This is a good sign to us.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, but let's see how that continues.
Okay. How about you, Sophia?
This is my first year on the selection committee.
So if this is your first year, what are your expectations? Are you excited to be on the panel? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm very exciting. I'll say a very technical thing that this year we had this interview processing on a Zoom, and last year I guess it was offline. So that's the main difference.
Yeah.
Okay. So as I understand, this year there are a lot of applications, and a lot of people have heard about the program, and they are applying for this master's program. And there's a large amount of portfolio of people who have applied to this. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's 10 for every place. There are like 10 applicants. Could you shed some light on that? Like, how would you choose those 10 from just for if you have to offer a place?
Well, I believe there is, first of all, the program is in place for 5 years now. Now it's building a reputation. This is one thing. Second, we see a number of successful careers in all different spheres. So this is another reputation issue. Third, we are probably one of the most international global programs you'll find in almost in the Russian Federation. We have 4 double degrees in place, no 5, in place, and the number of exchange agreements. I mean, I'm not talking about close by, but we're talking about leading institutions like Berlin, Seoul, and so on. That is probably a reason and a motivation to submit an application here.
Okay. Any other views on?
I can say just 2 things. First of all, I'm very proud that we have almost 10 people per place this year. I'm very proud to teach on this program, and also I'm very proud that all those strong applicants came to us this year. This is really so. This is really so. So that is good. That was difficult, but that was amazing.
How about you, Yury?
No, I think despite the many master programs in Russia, but indeed our program proved to be really interesting, and were really well performing for students that completed this program. Currently work at very good places and in Russia and abroad. So I think this is why we proved to be one of the best programs, and that's why we receive so many applications.
Don't you think that it has made your job slightly harder now that you have to, maybe you feel bad that you have to decline some people who you think are very strong, but you have only just a place and you have to give it to only one person, not to two?
Yeah, I think I sometimes I have some regrets about the person who might have get a place at the program, but didn't get it. So yeah, those are regrets sometimes cross my mind, definitely. But yeah, there is competition, and we should pick the best. So
sure. So let's go back to the interview process and how it all begins. I think after kind of applying all when people send out all the documents to you guys, the next process is that you have to conduct an interview, right? From my understanding, the interview lasts about half an hour. Now, two things I wanted to ask you. First of all, how many questions do you ask? And from your perspective, from your experience, what is the most amazing answer you've had, and the one which is not so great, let's just say?
Yeah, the worst question is I don't know, because nowadays you can answer any question just saying, okay, let me Google or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you're asking what's your dream, I don't know, what are you going to do in like several years, or what do you think about this program, the worst question is I don't know. So the most brilliant answer was when we were together, Dirk, and the guy told us that he's going to be vice president of the company when he was working right now.
Mm-hmm.
Very direct. This is not axiom. We understand that this is only a dream, but that's a real dream.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what kind of questions do you ask? Because you have a very short time of answering to actually do the interview, just half an hour. What kind of questions do you ask?
Well, my most preferred question is, anything you would like to ask me?
Mm-hmm.
This is always get prepared, because this is the perfect indication. If you don't have a question to ask,
that means
you're not
interested.
familiar with the topic. You don't know what you want. So just don't ask us as a commission, what about a scholarship? And don't ask us about when does teaching start. Come on, folks. This is the small part.
Yeah.
Ask us something about the substance. Ask us something, whatever it is. But not the easy parts.
Out of, like, whenever you ask this question, is there something you want to ask me? Out of 10, how many people answer, I don't know, or I've got nothing to ask?
I think most of people answer something. The answers sometimes are really confusing. Sometimes people describe their future two completely different ways, and they want to be engineer at the same time. They want to be I don't know, a manager somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And there are I've seen several cases when people are completely lost and don't know what they really want.
Right.
And that's probably what I say is not very good impression for the commission, definitely.
It is a case we had this year, indeed. And we also had it last year and the year before. We had it many, many times. So what happens? You ask them, what do you want to become in the future? And the answer is, I want to be a manager in an international company. Okay. When we ask, do you want to go abroad for exchange or double degree living abroad? No, I want to stay in Moscow. But you want to work in an international company? Yes, and I want to be a manager there. But you don't want to go abroad? No, I will be here and work for the international company, but I don't go abroad. Okay, there's some contradiction. If you want to manage an international company, know the culture and the mentality, go abroad. If you tell us, no, I don't do it, I love Moscow too, but also leave it. So, be consistent.
When somebody is asking you whether you want to do a program, and if you don't want to go abroad, you got to think at least twice before you answer that kind of question, because it may leave a bad impression to the admission panel. As I understand, the master program has been running for the last 5 years. What percentage of applications from your experience have applied last year, they didn't actually get in, and they are applying this year, or they have applied in the last 2-3 years? I mean, how do you know?
Approximately a quarter.
Oh, really?
Approximately, yes, quite a number, and you recognize them. It happens from time to time indeed. Goodbye at 1 year, and the next year, oh, nice to meet you again. There's a nice saying, you always meet twice. So let's see how it develops this year.
Do you, when you see an applicant who has applied for the second time, and you know that he was unsuccessful in his application process of last year, what kind of interview do you do with him or with her? Do you ask this question like, what has changed this year, or you don't ask them at all?
No, it is the interview is a one time. This is like we're talking about now. We don't care about what happened last year. What did you do over the last year?
Right. Okay.
So you're assessed objectively against what you submit. You're not assessed against did you improve or not. Nobody cares. So it's like you have, I don't know how many attempts. You have 10 attempts, possibly, but nobody cares about the number of attempts. This is not a bonus. It's not a malus.
I think we are coming to the end of our discussion and our insider's perspective. I think the last question would be, what recommendation would you give to potential applicants who would like to apply for the master's program?
I would say to look into the program courses in details, because this is one of our main questions. What are you going to learn from our program? This is really so. And when the student shows us, the applicant shows us that he understands the program and even knows the program very well, it will give me a big plus.
I would say for applicants, you must somehow develop a strategy for your life and understand how this program helps you to achieve the goals of this strategy. And for that, you should definitely know what the courses of the program is about and how they help you to reach what you dream of, and that's probably the main tip that I can give to the applicants.
So basically, like, to put it quite simply, like, they must have a plan of their life. You must have a plan A and plan B. What you want to do with it? After this. Interesting. Anything else?
You should clearly find an idea or have an idea. What is the value we can deliver to you? What do you get from the program? In which shape? In which sense? This is number one. Number two, we run a number of webinars in advance. Consultations for applicants. If you want to know something about the program, join first. Ask whatever you want. This is not part of the assessment. But do not sit in the interview and tell us, I like course XYZ and the topic of that course. We don't care, we know these courses. We want to know what is the value. And why do you want to have these competences? Don't start talking to us about individual courses. Talk to us about the big achievement and the big value for you. Regardless.
How's going to help you, basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's our, this is what we always say. A good student, this is the typical question, what is a good student? A good student is one who still remembers in 10 years' time when he came here to Miasnitskaya from time to time or online. So, if that happens, that you still have positive memories, and we still keep in touch like we do, we did something right. It's our job to deliver value for our students, which you can use later on in your career.
Sure.
This is our mission. It's not our mission to be professors, being proud of being a professor. We are proud of being that at the moment we deliver value.
Great. Well, that brings us to the end of our discussion. Thank you so much, Yury, Sophia, and Dirk, for your time today. And so I think we look forward for your applications for this year and the years ahead. Thank you very much.